JB Pritzker calling for Kristi Noem's resignation following the deadly ICE shooting in Minnesota. It's Thursday evening. I'm Tyler Lopez.
And I'm Janice Rebholt. Thanks for joining us at 10 o'clock. In tonight's top story, Taylor Fleming joins us with more, including reaction from other local lawmakers that are sharing their opinion on the issue tonight. Taylor.
Janice, Tyler, Democratic Representative Robin Kelly, who is also running for Senate, pledged to file articles of impeachment against Noem. One of her fellow Democrats, but also her opponent, Representative Raja Krishnamurthy, said he would co-sponsor that initiative. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, who is also running, further called for Noem to resign or be removed. Senator Dick Durbin called on his colleagues on the Senate Judiciary Committee to force Noem to testify in front of them. Representative Eric Sorensen said during a news conference that he has called for an investigation into what happened from the House Oversight Committee.
I have seen the video. First of all, I am horrified that that event took place. I'm thankful for the citizen who was recording the video.
Senator Tammy Duckworth said ICE is not making Minneapolis safer. Governor J.B. Pritzker called for Noem's removal during a bill signing Thursday, where he argued the federal government is trying to cover up what happened.
It should anger you. It angers me. It should compel you to peacefully stand up for justice. It's time for Kristi Noem to go.
Vice President J.D. Vance had words for those protesting, calling for them to make demonstrations about policy and officials instead of law enforcement.
Make this about disagreement with our policy. Don't use your protest as a justification or an encouragement for people to go and incite violence and participate in violence against our law enforcement officials.
President Donald Trump said on Truth Social that ICE agents are just trying to do the job of making America safe. During a news conference, Noem herself defended the actions of ICE officers, saying the actions of officers involved with the Minnesota shooting were justified. Even though Illinois Democrats are calling for Noem's removal, the chances of that happening are slim. Several Republicans have stood by the ICE officers' actions, with President Trump calling the woman who was shot and killed a domestic terrorist. Tyler, Janice.